Hello everyone, Carolina Venom here. Today I'm taking a look at three phones from three different carriers. Today these are all prepaid devices. I've been known to do reviews on cell phones, but not really give technical features and specs on these phones. So I decided today to take a look at these three phones: the Verizon LG Optimus Exceed, the at&t ZTE Radiant, and the Virgin Mobile ZTE All. All three are nice phones. Some are, there is some pros and some cons to each of these phones. But we're going to get into right now to the specs. I got them all put up on my tablet here, so we're going to go ahead and get into the technical parts of the phone. This is a nice little phone. It does feel good. Reception on this phone is very mediocre. It's not the best in the world. I live in a good Verizon area and only one bar of service, so that's not very good. It's got now got no service. It's got a 4-inch screen with a front-facing camera on the front and a 5-megapixel camera with HD recording and your flash. Like I said, it's got a 4-inch display and cornering Gorilla Glass. Got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. Got a 5-megapixel rear camera with full 1080 HD video capture and VGA front-facing camera. This phone really does have a good front-facing camera for taking pictures and video. Of course, it's not as good as some of the higher-end phones, but for a cheaper prepaid phone, this has got the best camera out of the three. Really, as far as autofocus goes and recording goes, this one here takes the prize on the camera, because it's really nice. It's only got 3G network, because Verizon does not offer 4G on their prepaid phones yet, which is kind of crazy. But this is only a 3G device. It's got 1 gigabyte of RAM. It's got a 1700 milliamp hour battery with up to 8 hours of talk time and up to 350 hours of standby time. Now, I kind of got to disagree with that, because when I use this phone, for a little bit of time that I used it, I noticed that the battery life wanted to drain quite a bit. I even had to buy a spare battery because the battery just did not last very long in this phone, especially when you're on the 3G network. Using Wi-Fi, it got somewhat better, but I don't think it's that good. It's got 8 gigabytes of internal memory, so I'm guessing about 4 gigabytes of memory available to user, which is pretty good, and it supports up to a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. Of course, certain features will use more power, and battery times will vary. It's running Android 4.0.4 ICS. Don't know if it's going to get any more upgrades than that, but I know it does run 4.0.4. It has Bluetooth version 3.0, and that's about it. Like I said, the camera's 5 megapixel with 1080 recording. You can record with or without sound, so it's pretty nice. It's a nice phone. It's got a pretty good amount of features on it. It's just not the greatest phone out there as far as reception. Call quality is good. Camera's good. It does sometimes lag and freeze up a little bit sometimes, but that's really about the only problem I've had with this phone. Secondly, we're going to the second phone, which will be the ZTE Radiant from at&t. This is a good phone as well. A little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, very slick. If you ain't careful, you'll drop it. Screen is not as good on this phone as the other two phones. It's kind of, I wouldn't say washed out, but it's just, to me, it's just not very sharp, not very clear. This phone does not have a front-facing camera. That's the only thing that's lacking, is the front-facing camera. Records in HD, has a 5 megapixel camera on the back, flash. But The benefit to this phone that the other ones don't have is this is a 4G device, and that's pretty good 4G speeds as well. We'll go into the specs here. Like I said, it's got a 4-inch display with 800 by 480 resolution. Runs Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean. Has a 5 megapixel camera with LED flash and 720p recording. It's got a 1.4 gigahertz dual core Snapdragon S4 processor. It's got a 1735 milliamp hour battery with up to 5 hours talk time and 312 hours of standby time. It does get decent battery life. It's not the greatest in the world. It's better than the LG, but 5 hours may be right, but I doubt it'll last 312 hours on standby. But like I say, using different apps and features may use more power, so of course you can't really go by that anyway. The internals, it's got one gigabyte of RAM and 4 gigabyte of internal memory with 2 gigabytes available to user with the support up to a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. It's got Bluetooth 3.0. That's about all it's really telling me about this phone. Like I said, it is a 4G phone, and I live on the outskirts of a 4G network, and I can pull 4G service really good, and I can get between 5 and 6 megabits per second download and about 0.80 to 1 megabit upload. In a very good at&t strong 4G network, I can get about 11 megabits per second download. So that's not too bad. In between 10 and 11 megabits per second download. So that's not too bad. Speeds are really good. On a strong network with Verizon 3G, I might get 2 to 3 megabits. It just depends on which area I'm in. So anyway, good phone, good call quality, good battery life. The screen ain't the best in the world, so if I got to give it any negatives, it'd be the screen and no front-facing camera. Now on to the last phone is the ZTE All from Virgin Mobile. It does have a front-facing camera. On the back, you have your camera and your flash with a 4-inch screen. This one feels good in the hand. It's not too slick, and it really feels good in the hand. To me personally, if it's got a 4-inch screen or above, it's fine. To me, anything smaller than a 4-inch screen is just too small. I've had a few 3.5-inch screens, and to me, they're just too small. If I'm gonna get a phone, it's got to be at least 4-inch screen or bigger. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the specs of the All. It has well, I didn't change it, did I? Nope, I didn't. Let's go over here and look at the All. This will take me just a second to get it over there. Alright. Got a 4-inch display, 800 by 480 resolution with IPS technology. It's running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean. I'm not sure if it's going to get any updates to anything newer than that, so I don't know. It's got a 5 megapixel camera with LED flash, 720p video capture, and the front facing resolution is 1 megapixel. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual core. I think it's a Snapdragon S2 processor with a 1650 milliamp hour battery, up to 11 hours talk time. Actual times will vary because of some features and applications. Now, this phone does have good battery life. 11 hours talk time. I've never talked on it for 11 hours, so I would not know. But it does last quite a long time, as long as you're on Wi-Fi. Now, if you're in a low service area and you're using, if you're on 3G, it's going to suck your battery down. Like with any of these phones, low service and you're on 3G or 4G, it's going to drain your battery. But if you're in a good service area using Wi-Fi, or in a good service area with 3G, you're going to get pretty good service. Pretty good battery life. It's got 4 gigabytes of internal memory with 2 gigabytes available to user and 1 gigabyte of RAM, and support up to 32 gigabytes on a micro SD card. It runs Bluetooth 4.0 That's just about it. It is only a 3G device as well. And the only negative that I can really say about this phone, about the ZTE All, is the fact that this is the network that it's on. Because Virgin Mobile, as you know, runs on the Sprint network, and actually I'm actually outside the coverage area. I'm in a white area where there's no service at all. But I can get phone calls. I can make phone calls, receive phone calls, and actually hold a phone call. It's better with a Bluetooth headset because I'm not touching the phone, so it's more apt to be clear. But that's the only thing bad I can say about the ZTE All, is the fact that it's on the Sprint network. As you see, I have no bars of service at all, and down here, that's the way it is. But this screen is very sharp, and I like the way the screen on this phone looks. These two phones right here have the best screens. 3G speed on this phone here is slow because Sprint is slow. The maximum that I can pull in a good Sprint network is around 1 to 1.5 megabits per second download. While I'm at it, I am going to run a benchmark test on all three of these phones. Now, there is going to be some difference, of course, because, like I said, 1.2 gigahertz dual core, 1.4 gigahertz dual core, and 1.2 gigahertz dual core. Yeah, I'll get to that here in just a second. Let's go ahead and run these things. The only one activated at the moment is the Virgin Mobile All. I'm currently probably going to be changing back to at&t next month because of the service and because of the coverage area. The thing I like about Virgin Mobile is the fact that they got unlimited data, but when the data is so slow, it's kind of a pain. But with at&t and Verizon, they got 2 gigabytes. They're really almost their max. You can add extra memory, but I've never really been too crazy about GSM networks, but like AT&T. But honestly, I believe they got better. I bet they're better than they used to be. Wait till they all get done here. LG's lagging behind. I'm trying to keep this video as short as I can, but it's taking the time. Finally, okay, let's check it out. This phone here is running at 2923. So not the best for a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor. 2923. We'll switch over here to the ZTE Radiant, and we're pushing 5692 with a 1.4 gigahertz dual core. Now that's a pretty fast speed in my opinion. I know there's some S3s, S4s, and HTC ones and all. They're around 9,000-10,000, but for a prepaid device for under $100, 5692. This phone is virtually, it's really smooth. I mean, it has no hiccups at all. And lastly, on here we have 4942. It has been as high as 5100, but right now it's right at 5000. So for 1.2 gigahertz dual core, being the same as the Verizon model, and this one's pushing almost 5000. This phone is really smooth. My favorite phone here would have to be the ZTE All. Cause like I say, there is absolutely no problems with the All. The only con that I can say about this phone right here is the network that it's on. The phone is smooth. It has no freezing problems, no lagging problems. It works flawlessly. I've not had any hiccups with this phone whatsoever. The Radiant is also a good phone. It's fast. To me, honestly, I believe that the All is smoother than the Radiant, in my opinion. My least favorite would be the LG, mainly because of the it does freeze sometimes, it does lag. When you even go to your app sometimes, it'll have to load for a little bit before it'll even go to your apps. And these phones right here, I mean, they're just quick. I mean, there's just virtually no lag in these phones here whatsoever. I mean, these phones here are just about perfect in my opinion. For prepaid phones, you really can't beat any of them. So I mean, I know they got a new phone out now with Verizon. It's called the Samsung Galaxy Legend, and I heard that phone is better than the LG, and it's got about the same specs as an LG, but it's better reception and it's a better phone all the way around. So anyway, my winner here is the ZTE All. And another good thing about it, it's got a dedicated camera key, which is always a good thing to have on a cell phone. So anyway, I hope this helps a little bit. Got any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. Subscribe to my channel. I sure would appreciate it. I want to wish all y'all a Merry Christmas. And so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll talk at you later.